What's up, guys? It's your Super Playaz back at it again with another video, and it's your host Tony G bringing you another Market Monday. It's a little late, I know it is, but I'm bringing to you, just like in the title, it says the cheapest SCRs to get right now for your money's worth. Honestly, it's been a while since SCRs have been this cheap, and I'm gonna show you which ones to get, pretty much. And before we start, definitely hit that like button, be subscribed, and comment down below if I didn't mention any SCRs that you think are worth mentioning or in the next video. So first, we're gonna start off with obviously the new set that just dropped. We're gonna look at their prices again and pretty much look at this. We just had our first online event where people were playing some of these cards, like Bojack was using Galactic Buster. We saw some pretty awesome decks. And some of these cards have plummeted dramatically, guys. So if you want to buy SPRs and SRs, now is the perfect time to get them. I'm just showing you like a rough draft or of skimming through all of them. Like they first started off at like 30 bucks per card, and now they're like they're like $5-7 bucks. It's so cheap. Like I said, opt out to get the SR variant. Of course, the SR variant is not that much. It's way cheaper than the SPR, so I definitely recommend you guys getting those if you're trying to budget. But moving to the SCRs, because these are the cheapest SCRs you could probably get in the game right now, because they were really expensive at one point and now they've dropped dramatically. And so the first one we're going to start off is obviously the set 13 SCRs, because they're worth mentioning because they were sitting at such a high price. It was at $220, now it's at $185. I keep telling everybody, wait a few more weeks. It's going to drop a little bit more. You're probably going to see this card most likely hit 160 within the next week or two. I would definitely be patient, wait until then, don't buy it just yet. I'm telling you right now, it's the cheapest. If you want to get it now, you can, but I'm saying it could get cheaper. And then we're going to go on to the next one, is Shenron Corrupted by Darkness, another great card that I think was sitting at a very high price. It was sitting at like 220 like 2 weeks ago, and now it's at 170, guys. So we're starting to see some of these cards just tank, guys. SCRs that aren't pretty much used in competitive decks. Like they are, but then you obviously have better ones. You have Cell Xeno, you have all the other awesome like Kai that are still relatively very powerful in this format. And since Shenron Corrupted by Darkness isn't seeing a lot of play, just like Gohanks hasn't either. And then we go on to the next one. Oh, that was not what I wanted to show you guys. The next one is Great Ape Mask saying. This is another great card. A lot of people are using this in the King Cole deck. I know Brian Samuel was actually using it, and it was sitting at 98 bucks, and it's cheaper than 100 bucks. So if you want to build a King Cole deck, this is probably one of the best SCRs to use it with. And then there's another card that I'll mention right now that I think is worth it as well, and it's probably going to be the next cheapest deck in my opinion for best of 1 and even best of 3 format. King Cole is probably the cheapest deck, and it's the most competitive one in my opinion. And if you want to get into competitive play, I recommend getting green. I think it's still very viable and is very powerful. It doesn't run Dormant Potential Unleashed, because there's some better cards in that deck that make it a lot more affordable. And then we have SS3 Gotenks Blazing Fusion, another great card, way cheaper than 100 bucks. And look at that, guys, $77.99 is probably the cheapest you'll find it. And obviously 200 would probably be the higher price, but look at that, it's sitting at $77.99. Not that expensive. I recommend people picking this up right now, because who knows if they're going to come out with better 15 power battle cards, and then it gets reduced for every card that's 15,000 power in your dropper, which is pretty phenomenal in my opinion. So this guy comes out for 4 energy, negates everybody's skills, and if this guy gets removed by an opponent's skill or anything like that, you pretty much nuke their entire field that's in rest mode. It's pretty awesome, and ignoring barrier, which is pretty phenomenal. Another card I think people are sleeping on and should pick up is SS3 Scrambling Raditz, Vegeta, and Broly, just because this guy is so strong. You combo him out or you arrival him out. Not only that, you pretty much burn 2 of your opponent's damage just like that, and they can't combo with anything that's 2 or less, which makes their combo power so dead so fast. And it's at 65. Oh, this is lightly played, of course, but we have near mint, 74 bucks, still relatively cheaper than most SCRs. Another SCR, I keep trying to say SR, I get confused. SCR that's a lot cheaper than most. 65 bucks is still very great, and is a powerful card. Still very strong. And then obviously this one that goes with it is Power Potora, Vegito, Kefla, and Zamasu. Another great SCR that's at $100 or less. I'm telling you guys, these are some great buys in my opinion. I recommend you guys getting this. This is so cheap right now. SCRs haven't been this cheap in a while because we had a huge spike of them, and now they're like relatively cheaper. So I honestly think it's the perfect time to buy these guys. And then we go on to Rebelu, I can't say her name. Demigra's Secretary, 145. It's still going down. I still think it's gonna probably drop another 30 to 20 bucks in the next week or two. Again, another card that's probably gonna decrease in value because it's not seeing a lot of play in the meta decks. So I highly recommend picking it up now or wait another week or two, and it might go down another $10, $15, most likely 20. I honestly think $20 would be the cheaper route that it will go down by. So I could see this hitting 100 bucks honestly, especially because black hasn't been really topping in an event, and we haven't really been seeing a lot of competitive decks with black besides Vegex, but Vegex is not used as SCR. And then we go on to the next one is Heroine's Lineage. Another great card. It's $54. This is a very cheap SCR. If you haven't gotten it, this is the perfect time to get it, just because a lot of decks use this card before it gets very popular. I think it's still relatively great. A lot of the meta decks were using this card. It's a very good card for surprise factor. It's just so strong. I mean, people are underrating it. Yeah, it doesn't get over barrier. However, it's still really strong SCR, and I think it's a good buy. So I highly recommend you guys getting this card as well. And then we move on to the next one is Majin Buu Incarnation of Demonic Evil. Another card. This card was actually sitting at like 180. I've always wanted to buy it. I think I might purchase this one myself, or if a Supah Play out there want to hook up Tony G, I definitely want to get this because this also works in King Cold. Very strong card. If another battle card attacks other than your leader, you counter this. You counter a counter attack card, which is so strong for 3 energy. It's a cooler is what I call it. Because Cooler's 3 yellow energy, this guy's 3 green, very strong. He's double strike, and he's a big threat once he's on field. So you pretty much make your opponent tap out with that, which is pretty crazy. So that's another card I think it's a very good buy. Another one is Super Pycon Might Manifested, a very good affordable blue SCR. If you choose to opt out of Hatchiyak, this guy is amazing too because Bojack utilizes this guy. Bojack is another deck that I think is relatively cheap. Obviously, you run the tournament packs and make it a little bit more pricey, but overall, Bojack is pretty strong just on its own, honestly. And with what you get the SRs and the commons and uncommons, and you slap this SCR in there, you got a really strong deck already. So I think this guy's pretty affordable, and I think Bojack, you're sitting at like $200-300 price range with this SCR. So I definitely recommend picking up Bojack and King Cold. These are very relatively strong decks in this new format. And leaving the last one is Vegito Warrior from Another Dimension. This card was actually sitting at $500 the last time I checked, and I saw it. People were just hyping this card up. Collectors were hyping it up, and it actually dropped to $139 or lightly played. $149 is still relatively cheap compared to when it was sitting at $449. And so I highly recommend getting these SCRs. These SCRs are so strong. I think they're really good right now, and for the price they are, I would pick them up. I mean, I have most of these. The only one I would definitely pick up would probably be the newer stuff, which is like Demigra Secretary. The Majin Buu is probably like the only one I'm missing from that set. I have probably gonna pick up my own Vegito because I don't have a Vegito as well. So there's some that I'm missing that I definitely want to pick up. I might wait on the Gohangs and Shenron because it's probably gonna go down anyway. So there you guys have it from your host Tony G. Definitely smash that like button. Let me know if there's any cards I might have missed, and stay tuned for other Market Mondays. And like we always say, y'all stay Supah.